CloudGeometry and Claritype present AI for better BI with the data you already have.
How does that relate to sort of where we all are, where we have these piles of data sitting in these massive data lakes?
Right. Yeah. So I think the kernel of the solution, and like I said before, like you and I have built some of the pieces of this, and Claritype has, and CloudGeometry and Claritype have delivered some of it. I think it's a bigger vision, though. I think the vision here is that it can work for one thing. So we knew that all those subpoena returns were phone calls, and that's a fragment of a knowledge model. But if you look at your data lake, each different system, maybe your in-house transactional system with 20 tables, a partner system which just has like your call logs or your advertising spend or whatever. Those all have knowledge modules inside them. Now, they're not just phone calls. There's often like a connected component in the graph concepts of like maybe 5 to 20 different knowledge concepts. Now, if you can use the same approach on each of those systems, you're essentially saying, here are the knowledge models that I want it to find. I'm going to map them to that knowledge model. I can then combine those knowledge models across the different systems in the data lake. Now, there's a bunch of different ways to do this. This is fundamentally a classification problem. You're saying, here's the phone call, going back to the law enforcement story. I want you to figure out which of the varieties of columns are properly classified into each of the slots in the phone call that I want you to build. I know these are phone calls. I want you to try to map their idiosyncrasies to the canonical phone call. And so I don't want to bite off too big of a piece at once, but essentially your data lake is just a lot of copies, a lot of variations on the same theme. And if we can find techniques to automate the movement from the raw data into those knowledge models, we're essentially taking all the tedious middle, all the manual code that none of us wants to write, and skipping over it entirely.